Drinks Coach. For those people that didn't see the last show, sorry that I've been away for so long. Few reasons. Because I wasn't in lockdown, it was an opportunity to make a couple of bob, and this does not pay the rent. And my wife don't want no scrubs. So I needed to go out and earn some money. And the International Wine Challenge competition was judged for 2 weeks, or in fact 6 days straight. Thank you very much to the fantastic team at IWC for all the amazing social distancing caveats he put in place. I felt very safe. The wines were fantastic and my team was fantastic. Shout out to Mr. Simon Field, Master of Wine, and Marie Chong, and loads of other really lovely people that I judged with, including Hazel McRae from Marks and Spencer's, which was an absolute treat. Judge made some money, hopefully, be in soon, but this does not, as I say, pay the rent. So when I'm in lockdown, I have very little else to do. So back in the game coming up to Christmas. So please sign up and talk to me on social media at Vinesack or at Drinks Coach UK, all lowercase, one word, or press on the notify bell down at the bottom if you're watching this on YouTube on a computer, so you can get notifications of when the next show's coming up. And the plan is to make lots of shows come up to Christmas, which are exciting, more about Christmas drinking, getting us in a party mood, trying to make us forget the misery that certainly my industry, and most of you watching this are in my industry, the miseries that our hospitality industry is coping with at the moment. But hey, you know what? If you can't do anything else, let's get pissed and have some fun. So, without further ado, where are we? We're phase 2 of Bulgaria this week. Thank you again. Wonderful shout out to Dilian Kolev for all of his help. Dilian has, with his business partner, a shop called The Old Cellar in Wimbledon, and has, by some stretch, the finest range of Bulgarian wines and rakias available in the UK, amongst many other wines. And he's a very talented sommelier in his own right, knows a lot of my friends, including Georgie Radev from Lucky Kane, gets in. Yeah, my lovely wife got a pen and pencils out again. Look, actually this is based on a wine folly map, so I don't want to take all the credit for it, but my missus has done a wonderful job of colouring it in and making it clearer. We forgot to add Northern to the front of Macedonia, of course. Northern Macedonia is now Northern Macedonia. It used to be called Macedonia. This is Bulgaria, for those people that missed last week's show. Up here is Romania. That's thingy. Come back to it in a minute. Serbia, Northern Macedonia, Greece, Turkey. And this region of Greece, around Mount Athos, and this region in the north of Turkey is called Thrace. In fact, this used to be one large ancient civilization in its own right, the Thracians. This is the Black Sea. That's Moldova. Sorry, I remember now. Okay, it's just the lights, the cameras, you forget things. It's like being on a game show. So anyway, Sofia's here. That's the capital of Bulgaria. We shall carry on talking about that in due course. Anyway, today is white wine time. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, was red wine time. So, we've got 4 interesting wines. I've tried to stick to the same remit of doing wines that are very indigenous or very unusual and very specific to the Bulgarian culture of wine. And for those people who've been to Bulgaria, especially if you've been on holidays to the Black Sea on some kind of, 1830, woo, I'm so crazy kind of holidays when you've been younger. Yeah, it's hot. It's a red wine country. It's not really a white wine country, but there are always exceptions, and they do grow quite a lot of white wine. So let's start here. Beautiful bottle. H's. I mean, that's probably the family, the Haralambievi, I do not know how to pronounce it, but the Haralambievi family vineyards and winery are a wonderful, the packaging looks fantastic, first of all, don't you think? But a wonderful and modern winemaking family, who are doing their utmost to make sure the varieties, which are basically Bulgarian, even though some of them were only invented in the 70s, like this one. This was invented in 1976. They're varieties which they feel have some kind of merit and some sort of important story to tell in the Bulgarian wine story. So rather than let them go the way of the saber-toothed tiger, they're making sure that they get the best out of them. So they are really into producing wines from varieties that other people don't have. And this is a very good example. This is a great variety called Misket Kaylashki. Misket Kaylashki, there we go, Misket Kaylashki, is a variety which Misket is the clue. Is a variety which is muscaty. Muscat, the variety Muscat, has many, many forms. The original Muscat, very, very fine wine. I can't remember where, never can, but in the Bible, in the Old Testament, there's somewhere where you can viably recognise Muscat as mentioned in the Old Testament. It goes back that far. And if you think that Muscat is a great variety, in fact, probably the only variety that comes to mind for most people that you can both eat as a delicious eating grape, but also makes wine, it's planted everywhere, especially in warm countries where it's very hard to find juicy, cool, lovely fruits that are refreshing. And of course, grapes provide that in warm, hot countries. And those Muscat grapes, which were probably planted all over the place to make eating grapes, will have cross-pollinated with other vines. So a lot of the vines in the old kind of, storybook originator of winemaking, right back there, Georgia, this part of the world where wine was first invented, it stands to reason there's quite a lot of Muscat crosses and so forth. So, yeah, what we got here? So the Kaylashki Muscat actually was a variety which was at university created, I think in Germany originally, for climates like England in the 70s. Yes, that's right. We were growing some wine in the 70s in England, not successfully. And it happens that they invented this variety in 1976, which was until 2003 the hottest summer in the history of England. And so it happened to be quite a warm summer. But this particular variety was invented for really cold, gloomy, miserable English weather, like that. Horrible. Mould, mildew, rain, drizzle, miserable. People in pubs smelling of fags, drinking dark beer in raincoats. Yeah, and then they planted this beautiful, sunny, gorgeous country, Bulgaria, and it works really well. And the reason for that is because the skins are very thick. It's made from two other varieties. Muscat of Hamburg, or Hamburger Muscat, which was of itself a variety which was crossed with a Muscat crossed with other varieties to make it more hardy for rotten weather and mould and so forth. And that was crossed with another variety which is virtually not grown anymore in Europe. I don't think it's allowed in most countries. It's called Villard Blanc, which is another super cross. And you got this bulletproof kind of like Hulk of a variety being crossed with this kind of Fantastic Four, can produce an immovable shield variety. And you end up with a variety which not only could hold out and withstand the vagaries of an English or North German climate, but could also hold its own in smoulderingly hot climates too, which was a really nice kind of like turn up for the books. So this is a variety which, even when the wine in a hot year like 2015, which might get 14% alcohol, it has lovely, fresh, green, zingy fruit. And I think, having tasted quite a lot of different varieties from Bulgaria in research for this piece, in fact, this is one that I think is very intriguing. So, right, let's try it. Okay, so Misket Kaylashki, you heard it here first. Very pale in colour. You see that? It's got a very pale straw. Oh, lovely nose. Nose is kind of like beyond grapey. It's not really heavily grapey Muscat or that sort of heavy traditional Muscat aroma. It's lemony. It smells of lemon pith over the top. If you imagine sort of like just trying to think. It's just really refreshing nose. A little bit Sauvignon-y. But there's definitely that lovely kind of smell of fresh green melon rather than grape, I think. Oh, crikey. If I was on little holes in Bulgaria, and I found this cheeky monkey, which is made up here in the Danubian plain somewhere, I'd be very delighted to find that. I'd be going to the supermarket, buying a box of 12, putting the whole in the fridge, and just make sure I've got Bulgarian beer on one side of the fridge, Bulgarian white wine on the other, few bottles of red on the side for the barbecue later, and I'd be set for my Airbnb for 2 weeks. Okay, great start. The Haralambievi family. Very, very nice. Now, we're moving on to a variety called Tamianka. Tamianka. Now, Tamianka is the original, the OG Muscat. Let's call it iced tea Muscat or OG Muscat, whatever you like. But this is Muscat à petit grain, which means small graped Muscat, which is the French name for what is the finest Muscat in the world. In Italy, it's known as Muscat or Moscato Canelli, which means cinnamon Muscat. It's called Moscatel or something in Spain. But this is the original. And I was talking about Muscat being the oldest variety known to mankind, and one of the very, very first varieties. This is made by the people that are most famous for making it too. This is in the South Sakar Hills, which is in sort of the Thracian, middle Thracian Valley around here, towards the coast. More of a coastal effect, which allows the grapes not to burn. It's a cooler, more moderated climate during the day, and it's a little bit warmer at night. But it keeps refreshment and acidity and creaminess to the wine, which is what Muscat's famous for. Wow. Bratanov is the daddy. If you're going to pick one Tamianka producer in the whole of Bulgaria, Bratanov is the first name that comes to mind. So thank you very much, Dilian. Great prices. The first wine was £12.60, and after the song and dance I made out of it, I think that sounds like a good price, doesn't it, to you? This being the famous Tamianka from Bratanov is celestial. Oh my God, it's so expensive. £14.80. There's no extra, a couple of quid. Again, very pale in colour. The nose is almost foxy, musky. Smells like white musk from Body Shop. Don't ask me how I know that. But I used to know once. Anyway. Very round. Classic. Oh, it's classic. That's classic Tamianka. Classic Muscat. Low in acid. Round. Juicy. Soft. Need some smoked fish. Great with smoked salmon. Some soft cheese. Be delicious with that. Lovely with cheese. Low in acid, but then what do you expect in a country this smoking hot? But lovely and light and ephemeral and easy to drink. It does have some booze behind it. How much alcohol? 14% alcohol in there. Yeah. Should be an advert. Bratanov. Get twatted in Bulgaria. Moving on. Now, we're on to a variety, or a wine, which I think is very, very typical of the white wines of Bulgaria. This is from Tsarev Brod. Tsarev Brod is right at this end of the Thracian Valley, in almost what we call South Black Sea, on the delta of the South Black Sea. So again, very, very modern, very warm climate, very moderated by the body of water that is the Black Sea. So you don't get very, very smoking hot nights because it kind of absorbs the heat, the water, but you do get warm nights as well. So this wine is made, and it's called Sepage. Tsarev Brod, Sepage. Sepage is French for variety. And this wine is made from Sauvignon Blanc, Traminer, and Chardonnay. There we go. 2018. There's got a bit of age on it. So I started thinking, is it tired, maybe? Let's have a crack. Lovely heavyweight bottle. So somebody's trying to take this damn seriously. I remember 2018 being quite a successful vintage across the board. 19 was a catastrophe. Okay, so... Well, if I'm thinking Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay and Traminer, Gewürztraminer, I did a show on it, look it up. This is what I'm expecting. It's really aromatic on the nose, lovely smell of, this sounds ridiculously appropriate, Turkish Delight. It smells of lemon Turkish Delight, lovely funkiness to it, delicious. Round, juicy, like a northern Italian wine, or even like an Alsatian wine without the sort of golden apricot-y edges. Lovely and fresh and ripe and delicious. How much are you charging, Dilian? £13.50. Just perfect price for that wine, I think. That's exactly, if that was from any country in the universe, I'd expect it to be around that price. Remember, this is already at the top end of the cost of white wines in Bulgaria, which brings us on to the last wine. The last wine's rather special. This is from a family called Borovitza. And this used to be a straight Rakatsiteli. Yes, I said that. Rakatsiteli. If I show you how that's spelled. There we go. There. Rakatsiteli. Rakatsiteli is a great variety which comes actually from Georgia, but is widely planted in Bulgaria. It's a variety which, again, is quite muscatty and grapey, but can handle the heat very well. And this is a very special old vineyard. Rakatsiteli is a no-mark wine. Most Rakatsiteli is pretty mosh, as the French would call it. And I judged some in the International Wine Challenge last week. And you go, it's like industrial winemaking. This is just holiday makers' wine. Oh, that one was nice. And there's one or two that are rather nice. Now, you could argue, certainly in Bulgaria, these guys are the Mac Daddy, the chief pimp, the original OG of making really, really great rakatsateli. Borovitza, this is made really high up in the northwest of Bulgaria, right up in the Danubian highlands up here. And this wine is made from mostly rakatsateli, but it also has aligote. You probably saw that where I pointed my finger, rewind the thing. And aligote is a great variety, which is, I think, hugely maligned. A workhorse variety from Burgundy. It's the other white variety other than Chardonnay that's planted in some parts of Burgundy. Very low in flavour, wonderful soft textures, beautiful minerality. And it's capable of making very nice wine indeed. And certainly in a style that is very fashionable in Europe right now. Delicate, creamy, fluffy. They used to just chuck cassis in it and call it a kir. So if you ever drank a kir, which is cassis in white wine, it was made with aligote, because most creme de cassis comes from Burgundy. If it was a fizzy one, it was made from Cremant de Bourgogne, put in creme de cassis, which is called a kir royale. So this is aligote, which won't have changed the character or the style of the rakatsateli too much. This is a vineyard that's between 50 and 60 years old. So this is old vine rakatsateli fermented in inert, large wooden foeders. So this wine is a barrel fermented rakatsateli. The aligote might have just got in the way like a drive-by. Maybe there was some aligote in the vineyard, just happened to get picked at the same time. Very pale in colour. You wouldn't expect that from a wine that's been in wood. Well. That smells really grown up. It has little punches of grape, like muscat, which is where the rakatsateli comes in. There's also it's like someone's come up to you with a Mange 2, a sugar snap pin just gone in your face. These little whiffs of fresh green pea. There's a sort of a volume to it. Just smelling it, I can tell that it's been barrel fermented. It tastes like old school Chablis. Not quite as much acidity. Dead impressed. Absolutely amazing. Weird variety, weird wine, grown on alluvial sandy soil, which means soil. I don't know what to say other than that's interesting wine. It's as interesting as white wine gets. My wife will say that tastes like wine. Not just any wine, but like wine. If you like Juron Sans Sec, you'll fucking love that. Then you've been uplands, up here. This is where the elegant high acid stuff comes from. There we go. So, just to recap, Haralambievi, Misket, Kaylashki from the Mogilite vineyard in a very fancy, very smart bottle. The merest of money, £12.60. Then we've got Bratanov, the Mac Daddy, the OG of Tamianka. Then we've got this lovely blend of modern European varieties in a heavyweight bottle. Very serious. I don't imagine much wine in Bulgaria costs more than that. If you go into a restaurant in Sofia and you see Tsarev Brod, Sepage on the menu, you just go, I'll have that. Bring an ice bucket. And you'll probably look like a proper gangster. And then this wine, I don't know what to say. I think for £13.50, that's one of the most interesting white wines I've tasted all year. There you have it, folks. Dillian, I'm so sorry it took so long. It took 6 months, by the way, for everyone watching this. Dillian gave me samples back in May. Finally got round to it. Christmas sales. Just put your money where your mouth is. If you found this interesting and exciting, maybe you want to get a group of friends together, not physically, but virtually. Get everyone to order wine from Dillian's mail. Just look down there, the old cellar. There's an online thing. And then do a Zoom chat and talk about these wines, because I'll be buggered if you can find 4 more interesting wines to taste. And I bet you've never, ever said, I fancy some white Bulgarian wine. See you next time.